Okay, so let's take a minute and look at some of your data. So we'll look at the exit data and the summative data that you have, and then compare it to the entry-level data.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So here was my English language learner.
Okay.
This is the first one he took, and he hardly even attempted
Wow.
most of them.
Okay.
And he got 0.
Wow.
This is after one lesson, and
Okay.
he got 100% on these. But I'm curious whether or not he did them on his own.
Okay. And look at the number you picked. Could
It was
that have
easy.
something to do
Yeah.
with it? Okay.
Yeah, that was easier.
Okay.
On the second one, he only got 1 out of the 7 correct, but at least he knew the 100%.
Okay, good.
Which is the easiest one.
Okay.
And then today, I haven't looked at it
I'm
just
sorry.
yet.
The interesting thing that I see is that he attempted all of them.
Yes,
So
which is
even
better
though,
than
yeah,
the first one.
even though the very first one he was unsuccessful, he didn't even try them.
Yeah.
And by this attempt, he at least tried them.
Right.
So he's wanting to try some of the strategies. 10%, it's not that far off.
Right.
So, I mean,
He's getting closer.
yeah, he's getting closer.
So here is the one that he did today, and this is the key. I haven't even looked at it just yet.
Okay.
But see, here he wrote 0.8,
Okay.
which is really close.
Really close.
It's just 0.85.
And I'm thinking if this was a CST and
He would be able to guess.
He would be able to
Yeah,
get it.
you're
And
right.
it would be not a guess, it would be an educated, you know, I can
He
pick
can cancel out A and D.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think so too. 10%, again, he wrote 8 instead
Okay,
of
good.
85. And had I done the number 80,
He'd have gotten it.
I would have thought he knew what he was doing. And so obviously that shows me
Okay.
he's
So
just
then
a
it
little
was
bit
a
off.
good number that
Yeah.
you picked. All
Yeah.
right.
And then 30, he got 25.5.
Okay.
And all 3 of my focus students ended up wanting scratch paper.
Mm.
Interestingly enough, a lot of kids did, but I kept their scratch paper so we can actually look
Oh,
at
good,
that too.
okay.
So he definitely improved from that first time. Again, this one is a
Absolutely.
little skewed data. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he was looking somewhere else.
Okay.
But from this first one to here,
Yeah.
he couldn't even do 100%.
Right.
And now he got 100% right, he got 200% right, and those first 4, I can look at more of them later. But he did pretty well, so that was exciting. My selected focus student, again, got frustrated, tried the ones she thought she knew, and stopped.
And
She
then
got,
again left blank the ones that
yeah,
they weren't
she didn't
sure
even
of.
want to try.
Okay.
And I think I gave them 7 or 8 minutes to do this first one. I
wow.
said, just show me what you know. So she was able to do the 100% right off the bat, and she was also able to do the 50. But other than that, she really had no idea what she was doing.
Do you think the time that you gave them on the entry-level assessment is the same as the summative assessment?
I probably gave them almost twice as much time
the second time.
the second time. But I knew that the first time, I didn't want them to sit there for 15 minutes
When
and be
they were
frustrated.
frustrated, yeah. You're
Try
right.
what
You're
you
right.
can. And some kids needed extra time to finish, but a lot of kids left a lot of things blank, and they just got frustrated with it.
Okay.
This was her first assessment. She did pretty well, except the 1%, which proved to be a difficult spot for most
lots of
kids on this
students,
first
yeah.
one. So after this first exit card, the next day I went back and I retaught how to get 1%, why you can move the decimal twice because we're dividing by 100, all of that. And
So then that would be a way that you use these exit cards to plan your instruction,
Yeah.
to not just go on to whatever you had written in your lesson plan book.
Right.
You went back and specifically targeted that 1%.
exactly,
Okay,
which I
good.
did. And then this is the one after that, and look, she got the 1% right.
Perfect. And look what she's doing. She's
Yep,
moving
she's
the decimal
moving here.
point. Yeah, perfect.
All right, and then my gate selection here. This was his before.
Okay.
Again, trying more.
Yep.
And I think it was interesting to see here, he thought that 20% was 12, and then this goes up by 20, so he went up by 2. And this goes up by 20, so he went
Okay.
up by 2. And 20 up to 20 up by 2. Or maybe he started with 100 and went down. I don't know.
Okay.
So that was kind of interesting. That wasn't the correct pattern, but it was interesting to see he was
knew
trying
it had
to
to
use
fit
patterns.
a pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is his first one after that very first lesson, and of course he grabbed onto it right away.
Okay.
He was sitting next to my EL kid.
Okay.
At that time.
Oh, the same one
Yeah.
that got. Okay, good.
But he was sitting next to him for some support, and I think he
Maybe
got a little too much support.
Okay.
And then after the second one, of course, did everything correct and got it right on the money. He, it looks like he's using benchmarks and then dividing them and multiplying them appropriately. And then this was today's, and again, 0.85, 8.5, 25.5, 42, 59, 76, 21, yeah. So, and he even got the decimal in the right spot.
It
So,
sure does. Good.
yeah.
So if you had to make, I know you've just had time to look at
my
those
focus
focus
kids.
students, but overall, do you think that you're comfortable with the progress that they've made
Yeah.
from the entry level to the summative? And
Yeah.
I don't mean comfortable like, oh, I think they learned it. I mean, you have some data here that shows they made some good growth.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I really want to sit down and look because I want to make sure that I assess whether or not I got to that 80% of kids could get 14 out of 17. I'm really hoping for the 80%, and I feel like with that fun bingo game, they were able to review and get help from neighbors and go over the content before I gave them the exit card.
Okay.
So
maybe a
went
different
well.
way to review outside of the box. a
yeah,
little.
and you can tell exit card isn't perfect because they still don't like it. You know, I said I'm going to pass out the exit card. So that's why I said this is our last one. Yes.
But I don't think there's the same level of anxiety
Yeah.
that it's a test. Yeah, they may not like being held accountable, but you know, there wasn't that same dread of having to take a test.
Right.
Okay.
And knowing that they had just reviewed it, I think a lot of kids felt more comfortable jumping into this. And these percents, for the most part, were the ones that were on their strips.
The strips during the bingo game? Okay.
For the higher level kids, they had even harder percents than this.
Oh, good.
So it doesn't surprise me a kid like my gate choice did really well on this because these are easier than the ones that were on his strip. And I gave him 2 strips because I was one student short.
Okay.
So he had a big job and he pulled through.
Okay, so the next time we get together, we'll go over the summative assessment data on your whole class.
Right.
And you have time to look at all that data, and then we can just reflect on that information that you have.
Sounds good.
Okay, you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Thanks.